Welcome back to Score on Business, and we're still here with Martin Plumlee. So, Martin, before the break, you were sharing some research information that really I hadn't heard before, which is that when an executive or an employee gets in a new position at a new company, they decide whether they're going to stay or go. And did you say 3 months?
Usually within 6 months.
6 months. And you were talking about the importance of helping that 6 months go well. Continue, if you
Sure.
will.
I would like to refer to it as strategic onboarding, because I believe it's more than having all their supplies and computers and tools ready when they start the job, but it's having executive buy-in. It's having everyone that they're touching truly involved in their process. I make the argument that it's wise to have that leader. Let's say they're a VP, that they would, within the first month they're on the job, they have coffee, lunch, breakfast with 5 other executives of the company to really understand the inner workings of what is going to be successful, what may not work, understanding all the hot buttons, the idiosyncrasies of other leaders within the company. I think that's critical. I do believe also it's so important to keep this going for even up to a year, because in a very competitive job market, especially here in Middle Tennessee, great people, their phone continues to ring. They continue to receive emails. Recruiters, folks like myself, will continue to engage them. So if companies are not really working on those internal relationships and building those people for the long term, they're really putting themselves at risk.
Have you seen recent numbers about the cost of turnover?
Pete, that's a topic that comes up fairly regularly with our clients as we go out and meet with them. And based on the role, as you touched on earlier, I've seen studies from reputable sources, Burson by Deloitte, KPMG, that indicate executive turnover can be 2 to 2.5 times that initial compensation.
Oh, if not more.
If not more.
Yeah, yeah. So, what are some additional things that employers can do to strengthen performance, engagement, and retention?
I would tell you, I heard this the other day and I really like this. The military is important to me, and one of the things the military tries to do is let the families know, hey, you're serving alongside your service member.
Right.
And I would say certain companies, it might be based on their size and scope, when it makes sense to pull in those family members. Maybe during that initial week or month of employment, let the spouse come have lunch there, maybe have a chance to meet some of the other leaders or their peers.
That is in the book of good ideas. That is gets a page.
Well, the military doesn't do everything right, but they certainly lead society in certain ways. And I do believe that family integration really will drive that buy-in, especially those periods.
Talking about in my opinion, military has really got leadership down pat, considering that we're humans and nothing's going to be perfect.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Okay, had to get that in there. So you were talking about bring in the family. What else?
I would say all kinds of things, such as team building exercises. Sometimes I think in this day and age we put those to the side and say, oh, those are what's the impact there? What's the cost? Time away from the office. But especially for those new team members, it's such a great opportunity for them to get outside the environment, get outside the office, and see what people are about. Sometimes people put up a veneer at the office and they perform a certain way, but when they're in comfortable clothes, they're out having fun, going to a ball game, going to one of these escape events, it's so neat to be able to plug into someone's personality and see what's really important to them. Because if I know what's important to you and I ask about that consistently, you think I'm a good guy, as long as you sense that it's sincere and it's not just a facade.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Touching bases back to the military, I think part of my volunteer work is when leaders retire from the military and transition. One thing that has blown me away is it's not about what they've achieved, because their teams are the one who did it all. Talk about that a little bit.
And I see a lot of those same struggles in my role. I'm somewhat visible in the recruiting world, and I get those referrals quite frequently. We have to do a better job of coaching our leaders. Doesn't matter if they're a retired colonel, retired general officer, sergeant major, first sergeant. They have to understand that once you leave the uniform, you have to take credit for things. Yeah. Because if you've done it, it's not bragging.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, yes, you may be part of a bigger team, and that's wonderful to be selfless in that sense.
You know, they have to learn that. But what I love is that the culture of the military is that you give credit.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things I love about service, about wearing the uniform.
Yeah.
But when you step into the business world, right, it's very, very much centered on profit and about results.
Yeah.
You have to understand that, hey, I'm the quarterback, I'm the coach that make things happen.
Right.
I want to use all the resources, engage my people, empower them. But at the end of the day, a great team, usually there's not a great team on the field without a great coach on the sideline.
Awesome. Well, Martin, again, thank you for your service, and thank you for visiting with us again.
A pleasure, Pete. Thank you for having me.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, that will bring it to a close for another week here, and we'll see you next week. Thanks so much for watching.